It's very easy. So today I want us to talk about wealth.
Money.
Money. You know, I love money, and money loves me.
Hey, amen, amen. That's how every sermon begins.
You know, not just talking about money and sermons beginning, but you know, talking of sermons, in the beginning there was a word, and the word was with God, and the word was God.
Amen.
Yes. So that means we have to declare.
No, you have to.
You have to declare, because you see, God created the world, and He was the Word. So there's a lot of word in the creation. So that's why I'm declaring, money loves me. It comes to me.
Amen. Okay.
Anyway, let's talk about it. So a Kenyan it's an international company called the Knight Frank. It's also international. So every year, they normally do a global wealth report. And Kenya is one of those countries. They do an African report, but also a global report about wealth and where people are going to invest, what is driving their investment. So about 2 weeks ago, they released the wealth report. And why is it important we talk about it? Because we were just, you know, we have to talk about wealth. There has to be abundance, okay? So let's not cheat each other. With the dollar behaving the way it's behaving with the taxes, we need to talk about health. So they talk about the high net worth individuals. These are individuals who have like $1 million plus, about 135, what's the dollar exchange about? 135, 140 million plus. That is the asset value, whether it's the property you live in or assets in terms of shares and all that. And there's the ultra net worth individuals. So they say in Kenya they're about like 8,000. I was about to say we are about. They're about like 7,000 and something. And then the ultra net worth individuals, these are individuals with $30 million plus.
In assets or?
In assets,
okay.
$30 million plus in assets. Those are now, in Kenya now, you'll be talking about billionaires. And I think if you just go online, you'll see who the Kenyan billionaires are. And then they talk about prime property because that is their area. But what actually has intrigued me about this is what is going to be driving, people in investing and why. Okay, so I'm just going to mention a few. AI, artificial intelligence, is going to drive where people are going to be investing. So obviously, real estate is still a big part where people are investing. The ultra high net worth individuals, part of that. But AI, places like data centers are going to be big. Places like you know, now you need to process data. Everybody's making decisions based on data. But also collaborative office spaces are going to be big. The other thing, and I think this is really important right now, especially because of what we have just seen with El Nino, climate change is going to impact property values. And therefore, it means so that people are going to be thinking more about climate change. Think things like energy, renewable energy is going to be affecting that. But in Kenya today now, people I think are going to be checking where there is flooding. Are you going to invest next to a river, rivers, places like that? So we are the other thing that actually is a very big report. You can just Google and get it. But the other thing is that caught my eye is about how the rich, the wealthy people are actually looking at the prospects. Are they positive or are they negative? They are 65% positive that the economy is going to grow. And this is actually in tandem with the World Bank report, which says that the economy will grow at 5.2%. I don't know whether they've revised that or not.
That's the Kenyan economy?
The Kenyan economy, that the rich people, the wealthy people are very positive. The positivity level is at 65%. So in spite of everything, in spite of what the dollar is where the dollar is not affecting. The other interesting thing, which I absolutely really love, is there's what they call my land is Kenya. And this is very positive because when they interviewed these ultra net worth individuals, where are they putting their money? And where would they like to put their money? And how many of them are seeking new passports? Imagine less than 5% are seeking new passports to go and invest. It means moving from Kenya, going to invest in other markets. This is so important because why is it important? Because if you're having your rich people taking the money out of the country, investing it in somewhere else, it means they don't care they are not vested in the country. So if you have the rich people vested in the country and investing their money here, it's a very good indicator because for other economies like Nigeria, can you imagine 95%? Everybody wants to get out. Yeah? The other thing, sorry, I know I'm about to. They looked at things like home ownership. A lot of them have first home and second homes, most of them in Kenya. So I think it's quite positive. These are very, very big report, but those are some of the things that have stood out for me. It means so that as a country, we can still redeem ourselves. I know this year may sound, in terms of the economy-wise, it may not be, a lot of people are looking and thinking, so what are you talking about? But it's just so positive that people are still investing here. Kenyans, we still feel vested in this country. We are still investing here, actually. We are not taking our money elsewhere. And if we are, people are taking money to South Africa, and the UK ranks like the third. To invest in a third. Now that would be a third or a fourth home.
Okay. Sia, what do you think so far about all this? Are you positive as she is?
I'm not.
Explain to me why. Talk to me. Talk to
Because
me.
I looked at that report. You see, the masses of people, she's talking about high net worth. And the high net worth people in Kenya are very few. For a country to move to where it has to move, it has to have sound policies. My worry is, do we have the sound policies to carry this thing we call investment in the way we want it? Secondly, you might invest, but you want the return on your investment. And one of the biggest problems you've seen is that the World Bank report, the same World Bank report, if the money we're borrowing too much, and the money the government is borrowing, if you look at our exports vis-a-vis the imports and the balance of trade, you see that the lower people, the high net worth people might be in that space what Knight Frank is addressing. But 90% of Kenyans who do not have us, you see, Dr.C is talking first home, which is not an asset, is a second home owner. The people, these are high net worth people. Them, the inflation does not matter to them. But what matters, where the rubber meets the road, is where we look at the number of young people who we are coming out of colleges without jobs, and the unemployment rate is going higher every day. Yeah. We have a problem there. You look at, the best thing is that people are taking climate change, and you talk about climate change. The banks are doing what we call green banking. I understand green banking and going green and all that. But we need, first of all, to put all these things into perspective so that we carry everyone along. You see, you can have a country, and that's what JM was saying, we were falling into, a country of 10 millionaires and a country of 10 million beggars. You understand? Okay. So now we have a country of high net worth people who believe in this country. If you take the same question to the people who are on the ground, the lower people, they are trying to get their passports to run away. Yeah. Every single day.
Yes.
Do you have data?
Yes.
Like scientific data. I mean, at least Knight Frank brought the data. Do you have your data?
Dr.C, on a serious note, the best business, one of the best businesses to do right now is a travel agency. And that is a fact. Because a lot of people are willing to pay high dollar, high Kenyan shilling to even go get a passport and get a job anywhere out. And immediately when a Kenyan gets out, and that's a fact, that's the truth, that's what's going on. Because that's why even a lot of travel agencies are popping up and actually making bank. Because also one of the biggest even corruption things that are even going on in that line there at Immigration House is how much do you have to pay someone so that your passport can actually come up in 2 weeks so you don't lose that job that you have applied for and you've gotten.
But you see, they are going to look for a job, and there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, our president has been very vocal on actually getting Kenyans jobs overseas. That is one thing.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Going to look for a job.
Yes.
But there's people who actually want to leave and go and never look back. Never actually come
Many.
back. No, those people, by the way, there's another also happiness report that also even is done with the Kenyans. They may not, even though we may not rank as one of the happiest people, but Kenyans want to be in Kenya.
But okay, in her defense, there are Kenyans who, of course, go to the States, work there for a couple 10 or 20 years, but eventually your goal is to invest back and actually come back here because you know indeed your investment will of course be better off here. But that's because you're going to acquire resources that you're not able to get within your own country because of the policies that he was talking about, CEO was talking about.
Yes, we have to get
and that's the thing. People will always search for greener pastures if within their local community they're not able to get it. And I talk about even when you're even in rural Kenya now, you look at Nairobi. Now when you come to Nairobi and you're fighting, you look where? Let me go outside. Even if it's just Tanzania and it can get me a better job, I'm gonna go. Because you have to always know that indeed, you cannot wait for government policies to change. You have to be the first one to act for your own basic needs. Because you're just down there looking for the basic needs. You're not busy trying to look for investment. You're looking for the next meal that you're going to eat on your plate. And now here you don't have job security. You don't even know the company is going to be there. There's so much that's going on. Even
We are talking about patriotism. You know, it's everybody knows there are no jobs in Kenya. We need to create them or go out there, find them, and there's nothing wrong with that. These same people, if you ask them, if money was not a problem, where do you want to live? They want to live in Kenya, and these people will make money. Let me tell you, they are the same people who will send money home. And so therefore, this report doesn't talk about how people are leaving to go and find jobs. And I think Kenyans should leave and go and find jobs. There's no problem with that.
Honestly,
there's absolutely no problem.
I'm beginning to see your argument here. The wealth report is currently a rich people problem because
it is not a rich people
the people who are
problem.
down here,
Prosperity is something that is important.
Yes, it's okay, but let me tell you something. The people down here are not actually, there are people who don't know there is something like a wealth report. They are asking themselves,
In fact,
where's the poverty report?
they are shocked.
Where's the
poverty report? Because we all fit in it. Right now, there are people who are feeling like the economy has crushed them.
My dear,
we are not getting
don't
food.
say
We are
things
not
like
even...
we all fit in it because you know what? Remember, I started with in the beginning there was a word, and the word was God. And don't create.
No,
don't
and that's
create
the point.
poverty.
And that's the point. A lot of people are struggling. You see these passport offices.
Yeah.
You see the systems failed last week.
Yeah.
Last
But,
week.
they, but they even gave
Okay, I wasn't there. I have a passport. Simon, I have a passport, please.
But you know what? The thing about this report, it actually gives the numbers. So it's about anybody out there who is interested in wealth creation.
Should know
So it's
how
not
much.
about a comparison between.
No,
It's more like
It's
knowing how
about
much you need
benchmarking
to
the
get
country.
there.
Benchmarking the country. That's why there's a list of dollar billionaires. There's a list of Kenya, like Kenya shilling billionaires. Like, it's just important for us as a country to see where do we lie in terms of prosperity.
I get you.
It's not a they even give the numbers. It's grown to about 7,500 there. Last year it was only 4,000. So there are more dollar millionaires than
My point is this: if they could just make it this simple, Kenya is number this, but within our country,
data. You need data.
But here's the thing.
okay.
Let me say something real quickly. You mentioned something about patriotism. You know, most Kenyans are not patriotic.
No, they are patriotic.
No, let me be honest. Most Kenyans are not patriotic, and here's what I mean.
Do you agree with that?
And here's what I mean. And I want to be honest with you. Most Kenyans are not patriotic because we look at ourselves very insular as individuals. If we were to leave this country and for a certain payment, we can actually go
faster.
And
For payment.
And not even that. And yes, we can work for hard, very fast. thinking that we are so patriotic here. You're on your own. Hapo there, you'll be fighting for yourself. We'll be like, what? Me no language.
If you want to
Kenya, no,
confirm
I'm scared.
Kenyans are
And
not
that's a very-
patriotic,
I understand.
it's because of
Simon.
the health.
Truth.
Patriotism and a whole
Simon,
different topic we should talk about it.
I understand. I understand. Dr. C is just telling us because the wealth report is, and it's actually the dollar millionaire there and people who are high net worth. But on the flip is that if you look at the last time, for example, if you want to understand a country, just board a matatu, go to River Road, to go to Nyamakima, and you'll see, and you look at the volumes of people, how they are trading, and they'll tell you that actually our businesses are not doing as well as they used to, because of there's an issue somewhere, and it's about policy issue, and we need to encourage many people who are the majority. This country is a country of traders.
Yes.
Our country is a country of people who either farm or trade, because we do not have any other business we do which is bigger than that. But luckily enough, there are people who are in the blue chip companies, few of them who have companies we've set up. And the report actually, if you look at the people who the report has left out, are the politicians. And 90% of our Kenyan politicians who are high net worth have invested in Dubai, have invested in their land, their countries. You find someone in Dubai, they have offshore accounts. So I think we need to realize that it's a good report for people who still have that belief that this can be done in our country. But also we need to tell the government that if they can actually level the playing field so that more people can get into the job markets, more people can get into the business market. Because what people lack is not the amount of money which Hustler Fund was giving, or the ideas. It's the regulations which have been put. For example, if you want to shoot a movie in Nairobi today, do you know how many licenses you have to pay? You have your camera, you have what? So these are I'm saying the policies must be positive for us, for people to fit in, to create that wealth.
Sometimes you can even have too many laws, right? Sometimes you can even have too many laws.